Hi, my name is Skip Sims. I am a member of the Michigan Angel Community, managing member of the Michigan Angel Fund. It Takes Money is a series of podcasts with angel investors and experts who offer insights into how to invest in startups. In these podcasts, we'll discuss the many aspects of angel investing and why invest in Michigan. Welcome back. We're delighted to have with us for this podcast Dawn Batts. Dawn is the capital strategist at TechTown in Detroit. She's also a co-founder of Commune Angels, one of the newer angel groups in the state of Michigan, just starting up a couple of years ago. And as additional background, Dawn, you've hit all the major universities in the state. You got your BA in accounting at MSU. You went to Ross School of Business at U of M. Got your MBA and then a PhD in anthropology at Wayne State. So anyway, you're well educated for starters, and a go-getter. So here's my little bit of additional introduction. In that I've known you now for several years. You and I first got acquainted several years ago when I was at TechTown making my pitch to recruit high net worth individuals to consider being angel investors, to invest in this asset class. And at that time, also encouraging people to step up and consider maybe even starting their own angel group. And I will say that it seems to me you bought my pitch hook, line, and sinker. I think since then you have really run with it and done a lot of terrific things for the angel community and ecosystem in the state of Michigan. So thank you for all that you've done. Appreciate you having you with us today.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I often talk about you and sometimes even blame you for me being in this being in this space. But I'm so happy that I was in that room when you had the conversation and that you've been able to support, to support the journey.
Yeah. Well, one of the most recent things you did and through TechTown is you were one of the recipients of an EDA grant last year. So real quickly, why don't you kind of tell everybody about what that grant is about and what you're doing now.
Yes, for sure. So this is one of my favorite subjects. And we did receive an EDA grant, which is a federal grant, specifically to train 200 underrepresented angels in the Great Lakes region. So we're super excited about that. It gives us a chance to have an impact on the region through our training or through our program.
And when you say region, you're talking about not just Southeast Michigan. You're covering the whole Great Lakes, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's 6 states. So Michigan, of course, being one of them. We have Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. So we're pretty broad with this particular program.
Yeah, that's pretty aggressive. So anyway, congratulations on getting the grant, and I'm happy to say that Ann Arbor Spark, along with the Angel Capital Association and VentureWell, partnered with you on the grant, and the four of us collectively are helping move the program forward. So, in a nutshell, basically, the grant is to specifically try and recruit minority, specifically Blacks and Latino, as well as women, to become angel investors. And to put that in perspective for everybody across the country, about less than 1.5% of all angel investors are Black. That is, and we know that there are many more, a much higher percentage of that in that particular community who could be angels if we can convince them to become angels. And that's part of the goal here. The same with the Latinx group, and even among women. I would say in the state of Michigan, I don't know if you agree with this or not, but I think even in the state of Michigan, we are below the national average in terms of women participating as angel investors. So that's the specific focus of this particular initiative. And then I'll add one more data point. in our 2021 Michigan Angel Report, we were aware of over almost 1,600 angels in the state. We could not get a read on the percentage or number that are minorities or women. We'll make another sincere effort to glean that number for 2022, but we don't know it specifically yet for now. But we do know, good news is on the entrepreneurial side,
Mm-hmm.
you know, 10%, 20% of the companies are led by women, and 40% of the companies are founded or led by minorities. So on the entrepreneurial side, I think the state's done a pretty good job. We just have a long way to go to get minority investors.
Yep, and I think we will find the more minority or underrepresented investors, Black, Latinx, and or women that we have in the ecosystem. I think we'll see that number continue to rise on the founder side. You know, research has shown us that a more diverse group of investors tend to invest in a diverse group of founders as well. So it's not a one-on-one, but it is. They do have some impact on one another.
That certainly makes sense. And so I appreciate you pointing that out. That's a very, very valid point. So let's talk about, in particular, the Catalyst Angel Program, because one of the things we'd like to do through this podcast is get some people interested and excited about participating. So go ahead, tell us about Catalyst Angel.
Yeah, so the details of the program, you know, I like to think about it in three integrated pillars, is how I usually talk about it as well. The first one is obvious, you know, it's one that people tend to love, gravitate towards, because it's, you know, it's something you can feel, touch, and that is the courses that we offer through Angel Capital Association, Angel University. So anyone in our program, or I should say everyone in our program, will take the Angel Investing Basics courses, and that consists of 3 courses that are hosted by Angel Capital Association. They are all virtual. It's over a 6-week period of time and about 2 hours for each course. We also will have an opportunity for a fewer number of people in the program to take the deeper dive courses, which are the more advanced courses. And there are 3 of those, and that's also hosted by the Angel Capital Association, same type of time frame. The courses are taught by experienced angels. Very rich courses, lots of great information, and they are recorded and they are sent to the participants, so they have a chance to hear it, to think about it, and go back and listen to the courses. So that's the first pillar, and one that everyone gets extremely excited about. The second one is equally important to us, and that's the hands-on experience. You can have a lot of knowledge, for Skip, as you know, having been in this space. Being in front of a founder or listening to a pitch is different when someone's just telling you about what you should do, due diligence. So the second one is more hands-on, and we partner with a few people. Our primary grant partner is VentureWell. They have 2 programs a year where we have some of our participants be mentoring residents in their program for new or early stage companies. Our mentors are also mentored by investors and residents who are more experienced angels in that same program. So it's pretty cool to see the early startup companies being mentored, and then seeing the earlier emerging angels being mentored. And it makes for a really, really good conversation, discussion, and learning environment. VentureWell does this twice a year. We just finished about 2 weeks ago in Detroit. So I had a chance to be in person with that group, and that was very exciting to see the energy in that room and the learning in that room. We also informally have referrals or requests from other people in the ecosystem for mentors, investor mentors, and that includes Techstars Detroit, for example, Tech Town. We have demo days, so we can bring in our Catalyst Angel participants as judges. That gives them another hands-on experience so that they can hear, see, feel what they learned in their courses. And then, of course, we always welcome them to visit angel groups when the opportunity comes, to go to pitch meetings when possible, so they can get that hands-on experience of hearing the questions that the angel group members may The third component, which I know you are very, very heavy on, Skip, is getting them in the ecosystem. So we want to make sure that they have everything they need, but continue to integrate and be part of the ecosystem, because that's what makes it all work. When they are able to come to the Michigan Celebrate Angels, usually in May, the Michigan Summit, usually in October, they get a chance to interact with other angels, but they also get a chance to hear the state of the angel community. And they also get a chance to hear about deal flow, which is, part of what makes this whole thing work.
It is indeed. Let's talk about requirements. So other than, we're focusing on people of color as well as women, that's criteria number one. What are the other elements of the criteria to qualify to participate?
Well, Great Lakes, you had to be in the Great Lakes. So we have had people come from, South, Atlanta, New York, who wanted to be in the program, California. We had to say no. They do have to be in one of the 6 states that we talked about earlier. The other thing we look at is accreditation. The intent of the grant, it is an economic development play. So the intent is that we get money out in the ecosystem over the course of time. It's not a requirement that the participants are, funding companies, but it is something we track. Are we able to put more money on the street for early stage companies by having more people? So we want to make sure that they are able to be able to invest in companies. And part of the investment criteria right now, is accreditation. I mean, there's things like crowdfunding, but this is different than, crowdfunding, particularly with most angel groups. So we want to make sure they can participate at that level. And then they must complete the courses, because that is important. We're offering the courses as part of the journey. So that is another requirement.
And so how do I apply? Let's get to the mechanics there.
Yep, techtowndetroit.org. There's a capital page, and it talks all about everything we just talked about. The benefits of angel investing. It talks about the criteria. There's also a little button that says you're interested, and you can click that interest form, and it will take you through a process of answering a series of questions. Usually take about 20 minutes to answer, not too long. Once you do that, it notifies us, and we take a look at it as a team, and then we make that decision, yes, they meet all the criteria, and then we start communicating with that individual with welcome letters, and then onboarding them into the program.
Let's go back and from a global perspective, why is this important? Why do you think this is why we need to be doing this?
Oh, I think there are a couple of reasons. One, angel investing has always been, some of the earlier investors, particularly when it matters most. When people are just starting their companies, maybe the ideal, little past ideals, and they need an infusion of cash to help kind of prove out their ideal. Angel investors have been there. This is before you often get to even venture capital, where you don't have that type of traction that may be attractive at that point in time. So I think it's just important from that perspective. United States, America has been a place of innovation, and I think this is a way to continue to fuel that type of innovation. I also think, even from a regional perspective, we talk about it being an economic development play. If we have more companies out there, more money to fund companies, then hopefully we have more success on the other side, which then translates to things like jobs, higher income, things of that nature. So I think that's incredibly important. I think specifically for this grant, when we start looking at underrepresented investors, I talked about, more underrepresented diverse investors. According to the research, you definitely will have more underrepresented or diverse founders. That's extremely important given our numbers just in the broader ecosystem of what % of investments go to underrepresented founders. We definitely need to improve that, and this is one way to improve it. And then I think the last piece, for me, is closing the generational wealth gap in underrepresented communities. When you have people who are on the cap table, per se, when a founder wins, not only is the founder winning, but the reason why people invest as angels is because they win too. So we can now, I call it balancing the equation. we have more underrepresented investors on the cap table with more opportunity to win or to have, significant exits. Then I think it helped close that wealth gap.
Yeah, and you're right. It's about growing our economy, diversifying the economy at the end of the day, and that wealth gap, kind of narrowing that a little bit. So, Dawn, is there anything I've missed? I mean, this has been a great overview, and we will encourage anybody who's watched this podcast to distribute it, share it with others. And if you know someone, a woman, minority person who you believe would be interested in this asset class, becoming an angel investor, this is a great way to get started, to learn what it's all about and get comfortable with it. But what else should we mention here, Dawn?
Yeah, I will add that we have learned, as we know in the angel investing space, it's a team sport. So one of the things we are doing with the program, if there are a group of people who want to go through it together, we have created cohorts within the program. So it's not a cohort program, generally speaking, but we have had groups like one out of Minnesota that had 25 people wanting to experience it together. So we created a cohort model that includes the courses, that includes some hands-on experience maybe in their local community, and then includes a celebration. So we can design a program. If there are several people who want to go through it together, they can just contact me and we can walk through what that looks like.
Excellent. That's a good way to do it too. Dawn, thanks for your time. Appreciate it very much. Good luck. Look forward to continue working with you and recruiting more angels into the ecosystem. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for taking the time to listen to It Takes Money. For more of our podcast, visit AnnArborUSA.org and MichiganAngels.org websites for all of our podcasts. And thanks to the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation for making these podcasts possible.